donations.
Yeah.
We just did it by first name.
Okay.
Hey Jeff, can we do an audio check with you?
Sure, can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear. I'm gonna mute the mic for a couple minutes.
Okay.
I didn't see her. No.
All right, so we'll call the reorganization meeting of the Clark County Animal Shelter Commission to order. I have a moment of silence and prayer. Maybe we can combine those two. Maybe we. Okay, maybe we'll pause for a second.
Sorry,
Mister.
very, very foggy up in the mountain. Oh, yes.
We just called the meeting to order for the reorganization piece of it, and we were moving to the moment of silence and prayer once you get yourself organized.
For me.
Okay, all right. So the said, please join me in the pledge of allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
These proceedings are being recorded for the sole purpose of constituting the accuracy of written minutes. Tapes are reused, eliminating recorded records of the proceedings. Like to go to a roll call. Terry Lynn,
Present.
Peggy Dart, Dawn Viz,
Here.
Christina, I'm not gonna pronounce it, Christina, I'm sorry. Okay, so Christina's absent, but I think we'll see if she shows up. But I think would be an excused absence because she did have a procedure today. So maybe that's holding her back. So right now we're in a real meeting, so we have some official actions. And if you guys want to stop and discuss any of this, let me know. I don't want to run it through real quick, but we're going to elect a temporary chairperson that will run the rest of the meeting. Then we'll elect through that chairperson running the meeting, a chairperson, a vice chairperson, and a secretary. And I think one last act is authorizing the continued use of Robert rules. And once we're done, we can adjourn this meeting and then move into a full meeting. So I'd like to say that we're accepting nominations for a temporary chairperson. Anybody interested in driving us through this reel? Harry? Any other nominations? Okay, is there a second to Terry's nomination to be the temporary chairperson?
A second.
Okay. And all in favor, say aye. All present, say aye. There's no nays. So, Ms. Terry, I'm turning over the rest of the agenda to you.
Okay. So am I continuing the reorganization meeting
Yes.
part of this then?
So now you would be at B. We've done B. Wait, temporary chairperson. You elect the temporary chairperson. Now you would ask for a chairperson
Okay,
for 2023.
so so my question is, if not everybody's here, I mean, there's only so many of us to choose from, if not everybody is here. I don't know what I'm saying.
We have a quorum for the meeting, so the meeting can continue. Someone that's not present can be nominated in a second.
Okay. So do I hear a nomination for chairperson?
Can I nominate Frank, the chairperson?
I would second that.
Terry, are you interested in sharing?
I would prefer to be vice chair again. That's a. So, all in favor of Frank being chairperson?
Well, as you see, everybody second the nomination, so now we would go to the vote and everybody's saying yes. Okay.
Now, do I continue or do you
Yeah.
take back over?
No, you're,
I'm just, I've never done this before.
yeah.
Okay.
First time for everything, right?
Yeah.
Make it simple.
Okay,
So now we're on the second page, C. You're the chairperson. Oh, my chairperson, like, oh yeah, chairperson like takes over the chair. Okay. I'm
so now
sorry.
it's back to you, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
you're right, I'm following.
Okay.
Yes. So now accepting nominations for vice chairperson. Any interested persons for vice chair?
I would like to apply for that position.
And I will second that.
Okay. I think there's no other nominations. We close nominations and voice vote. All in favor, say aye. And any nays? There's no nays. Congratulations. And now moving on to the thankless job of all of us.
Much appreciated, though.
Yes. Like to open up nominations for secretary. Any nominations for secretary?
I nominate Peggy.
Okay. Sounds like we got a nomination and a second.
Yeah.
Christina is just coming into the room.
Yep, okay. So, if there's no other nominations for a secretary, we can close it. And now a voice vote to elect Peggy as secretary. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Okay, so it looks like it's unanimous. Congratulations. And I guess the last piece about business in the reorg is that we need a motion and a second to authorize the continued use of Robert rules. Dr. Davey, you okay with making-
Absolutely, yep.
I second.
Terry seconds it. And all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any nays? So we can, Commissioner, do we need a motion to adjourn the reorg?
No,
No.
I would say normally you don't have to make a motion to adjourn it or close it, so.
And to help with the housekeeping, we move now to the regular meeting. Do we do the call order again? Or do we just recognize?
I would just recognize, the newly elected and then move right into it. But I would at least use the term call to order the regularly scheduled meeting, right?
Okay, I'd like the now call to order a regularly scheduled meeting for January 3rd. And do a roll call of folks that are here. I'm here, Terry Lynn. Here, Peggy's here, Christina. Hope you feel.
Here.
Dr. Dawn is here. So at the reorganization meeting, we went through the process and re-elected our officers for 2023. Frank Mignecco will continue as the chair. Sherry Lynn Mayer will be the vice chair. And Peggy Daunt would be the secretary. So we're all set for what we got to do for 2023. So the next part is approval of the minutes from December 6th meeting. Anybody with any additions, corrections?
No.
And with the emails, this is going to be posted as an attachment, the donors from previous month. So we're all set. I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from December.
I make a motion to approve the December minutes.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Okay, we're at the guest and public comment, and we have Jeff Wise with us, the county financial advisor, to discuss tax deductible donations and help us with any questions we may have on the financial report. So Jeff, I'll turn it over to you, sir.
Okay. I'll start with you brought up the tax deductible donations. Just so you know, I mean, the way that the law works, the county per se doesn't really have to file, with the federal government and become a 501c3 to be able to accept tax deductible donations, and they don't need to file with Pennsylvania Bureau of Charitable Organizations and file what's called the BCO 10 on an annual basis for collecting donations. The IRS law is that donations made to a governmental entity are tax deductible, just like donations that you as an individual or any individuals make to a 501c3 organization. So just kind of wanted to put that out there because I know there was potentially some questions about that. There was something that came up in relation to other counties and some things going around, and I don't know if this board solved or if it had to do with other areas, but as far as filing the Pennsylvania BCO 10 and whether or not counties had to do it, you can accept donations and not have to worry about filing those things. You don't have to file a 990. You don't have to register. It's when you get into overtly soliciting those, sending out letters and things like that, where it becomes a potential issue. So I know that was a question I wanted to make sure everybody understood. So once you start overtly soliciting them, then you have a filing requirement that needs to happen. I don't know if we've reached that level with the shelter. I know people have made donations, kind of put it out there. in meetings and things like that. But I don't know that the county has gotten to the point where they're, sending out letters and requesting a, significant amount of donations coming into the animal shelter that require that. But if you go to that step, then we're going to have to consider that. And then the county commissioners are going to have to be brought into that conversation on whether or not they want to go through that filing process. So I think that was why that was on the agenda. You can let me know if there was other questions in relation to that matter.
So the animal shelter shouldn't do fundraising? Is that one of the takeaways, Jeff?
They can do fundraisers. It's just how far it goes and how significant they become in relation to the funding of the shelter on whether or not the Bureau of Charitable Organizations for Pennsylvania will start looking at it as you need to file those items. Realistically, the way the regulations are written, any overt solicitation of donations and things like that would require that filing with the Pennsylvania Bureau of Charitable Organizations.
So we couldn't really do anything like to replace the roof. We're doing this fundraiser and you can donate to replace the roof. That would be stepping in a landmine.
It's probably starting to push it, depending how much money you're looking at. Yes. And how overtly you are as far as doing the donations.
Folks, any other questions for Jeff on donations? Okay. Thank you, sir.
And now, as far as the reports goes, I don't know what you guys have done in the past as far as reviewing reports. Corinne had sent me the ones that she sent to you, and I think she's been sending to you for some months. I had her run different ones. She was running them just for a 1 month at a time based upon what she sent me. What I had her do was run you, and I think you got them late this afternoon, reports that show you the whole year. And the problem with running it by the month is the budget is put in as of 1/1. So if you run just 1 month like she did for December, you don't see the budget numbers in there because they're posted as of 1/1. So I told her she should be running reports for you for the entire year. So come January, she'll run you a January report. Come February, she should run you a report that covers January and February. Same goes come June, January to June. So you know what you've done for the entire year, what the animal shelter has done for the entire year. So I had her run you those January to December reports. And I think she sent them out this afternoon. I don't know if anybody had time to look at them, but looking at those reports, that shows you the adopted budget. The first column is the adopted budget for the year, and then any budget amendments that occurred, which then the third column is the amended budget for the year. And then there's a column for the current month transaction. So that shows you what happened just this month. And then there's a column called year-to-date transactions, which show you the transactions for the entire year. No matter what month runs that would show the transactions up to that point in the year. And then there's a budget versus actual documentation. So, I mean, just for 2022 so far, the adopted budget on revenues was just under 75,000. We added donations into that. As the donations come in, we actually do that as a budget amendment rather than budgeting for them in the beginning of the year, just because then you can utilize that money in different ways. So that went up, took the amended budget up to like just under $100,000 as far as revenue goes. You've taken in 181. The big difference was the Canine Trust Fund revenue. We budgeted like $60,000. It came in at 128. Now, we did do something in the middle of the year. We set up another fund just for the animal shelter donations. So when you go into the future, as we go forward in future years, those donations and the Canine Trust Fund revenue will actually go into that other fund. And then as it's utilized, would be transferred into the general fund to cover expenditures for whatever you guys decide or the animal shelter decides to spend those expenses on. And then as far as expenses go, the same thing goes for the expense reports. The expense budget, original adopted expense budget for the animal shelter was $178,500. There were some amendments mainly related to the revenue we talked about. So the amended budget for expenses just over 210,000. And through this time of this report, and do note that the county works on a modified accrual basis of reporting. So if any invoices come in and are dated prior to the end of the year, they will be posted back into December. But as of right now, the animal shelter spent about $170,600. So about $40,000 under what was budgeted, under the amended budget. So if anybody has any questions in relation to those reports, I'm available to answer those also.
So with the spreadsheet that's revenue budget performance report,
Yep,
January 22 to December 22,
yep.
there's a line item for donations and it's zero. I don't, for December, it looks like we received a couple thousand.
Well, the canine donations is the line you want to look at. 3653.
3653.
Right.
But
now, as I stated, remember, we didn't run the report on the new fund. So any donations that came in after we set that new fund up, she did not run that report for you. There's actually a separate fund now for the animal shelter where the donations go into. So yes, if you collected anything in December, it's actually in that other fund, not in this, which is the operating fund for the canine.
Yeah, so that comes to us as the treasurer's report. It lists all
Right.
those.
We just have to get her to run. I have to let her know to run that extra report for you guys. It'll be the same report. It'll look the same. It'll have different line items on it, of course, but the fund, if you look at the top, it says Fund 1101 General Fund. I can't remember what the animal shelter fund number is. It might be like 1199, but it'll be another report that I have to have her run for you guys.
okay.
Jeff, did you see, were you courtesy copied on the email from Kevin in regards to the communication from Mach Chung Trust Company, or the trust company, the bank, whatever it was, in regards to the trust and re-examining that again?
How long ago?
It was within probably the last 2 or 3 weeks because of the revenue from it had dropped really low.
I don't think so. I may have, I don't know.
Okay, I will get that to you. I did look to see who was courtesy copied, but that's a meeting that we're gonna have to have in the future about if we're gonna modify that.
I don't know. I'm trying to search my emails. Don't know if I have it. I don't know if I'm spelling his last name right. So, but
Yeah, as soon as I find it, I'll forward it to you. Just and then we can. It's not coming up, but I'll find it.
yeah, I'm not finding it in my emails. So I don't know if I don't remember seeing that. What was the gist of it though?
In regards to how the distributions are made, where we do
Okay.
it quarterly versus like once a year, or and I'm trying to find it because it was a
Okay.
year or two ago when we had that briefing in regards to it. I don't. But I'll eventually find it.
Yeah, I'm not finding it either. But anyway, okay.
Jeff, would you be able to provide for the commission what the shelter's budget was? It was asked for 2023?
Yeah, I can send that. I mean, I can send that over to you. It's not an issue.
Okay. And then do you know what the December 31st balance was in the donation account that was just started?
I do not. I do not. I don't have the treasurer's report in front of me. I don't know if you do, Chris, or not, but I do not.
I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah, I don't have it in front of me. Sorry. It's at the county.
Is that something Corinne we ask Corinne for it? Okay. Ladies, any other questions? We got a subject matter expert with us.
Okay, okay for now.
Christina, are you good with any questions?
Yeah, I'm good. No questions.
Okay. Any other good words of wisdom for us, Jeff?
Everybody have a happy new year. Is that what you're looking for? No, I mean, I think we get you those reports and, you know, when the time comes, if you have any questions, we can revisit me being on again. So
Oh, perfect.
Thank you, Jeff.
no problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Chris, any comments?
Nothing.
I don't have any specific comments. Let me just look, please. Give me a minute. There was one piece of business that I missed when we were looking to do the agenda. And for some reason, I only have 2 copies. 3 copies of this. But because of the terminology used in the bylaws, we have to make an amendment
Right.
to our bylaws. So this is what was proposed to us from the folks in the county, and it makes sense to me. So if there's no discussion, if we want to make a motion and we can second it and have it voted on to approve. So Vicki, let me know whatever you need to, I don't want to keep going. You good? All right, so we can have a motion to update our bylaws, Article 5 with the new language provided to us here.
I make a motion to accept the correction to the bylaws.
I'll second it. All in favor? Say aye. Any abstentions? No, I think we're all approved.
I'm okay. I'm good.
Don't have a report from Mr. Tom to share, but I think it's the holidays and probably his schedule, so we can catch up
He did send this. I don't know if you want to go over.
on it and see it.
That would be in lieu of him being here, I guess.
Oh, okay. So. We have 16 kennels. At the start of the month of December, we had 11 dogs. At the end of the month, December 31st, we have 9. 2 adoptions. We had 5 hold and released to the owner. 2 dogs were rehomed instead of going to the shelter. During the month, we had 14 pets in our care at one time and responded to 3 public and police calls. The parts have been ordered for the guillotine door. And we had food donations of $5,507 and supplies with a value of $2,043.
And then there's your answer to your question about how much was taken in the month of December. Is that 5,000? That's the donations check-in.
Yeah, we don't know year to date how it ended the month.
Yeah,
year.
but that's at least for December.
Yep, nope, you're absolutely right. Yeah, I was going through the one list. It's a pretty good list.
Mhm.
So I think that's Tom's report. I don't think I have any questions at this point. But I'm going to ask Corinne, if you folks are okay, to send the full spreadsheet. So you can use it to do the annual report, pull the numbers, something like this, instead of going back and looking at the
Every sheet.
PDFs that don't come out.
Mhm.
Committee reports, do we have anything on enrichment to update?
I think we're still on a standstill with that, right, Christina?
Yeah.
It looks like for the facility upgrade, Commissioner, anything to report on the HVAC?
Yeah, the technical specs have been submitted by the contracted consultant. They're awaiting review by the county, and that'll happen now that the new year, we're all back in the office. But we have received the technical specifications for the bid documents. So it's moving at the speed of county government, right?
And I don't know, sir, if you know anything about the guillotine door, the kennel donation.
On Tom's report, it says parts are on order,
Yeah,
so it's not been fixed yet.
okay. And
If I could alibi on the HVAC system, we're obviously trying to get that put in the sweet spot weather-wise, right?
Right.
Right, so again, the goal is to get it in before it gets hot.
Right.
Right, so just so you know, there is kind of a timeline that we're
Okay.
looking at. And I can't remember if we're looking at starting in April or May, but it's right there in that sweet spot before it gets warm. I remember that specifically.
Parts are on order for the guillotine door, and order the update, and I guess we have no update on the donation of the cat kennel, unless you're still in there when you go in. Yeah, okay.
What do we have to do to get that facilitated?
I think that they reached out to see if people wanted it, right? But I don't think we.
Well, Corinne did send some emails about what had to transpire. And again, I'm going, this is what, 3 or 4
Right.
weeks ago?
Right.
I can't remember the conversation, but there was an administrative something that was missing. It might have been what I refer to as an acta de entrega, some type of documentation to transfer that property. So we'll have to check back with Corinne. Like I said, it's been 3 or 4 weeks since those flurry of emails went back and forth. I just can't recall them off the top of my head.
If the delay, sir, is because of finding the home for it to go, can we at least have it removed and stored so we can continue with the storage that Tom's looking
Well,
for?
my understanding was the Friends of Animals were going
They're
to
going
take
to
it.
take it, right,
Right, yeah, but so that was, again, it was making it happen,
right.
that was the last I
So
recall.
we'll just reach out to Corinne.
Yeah, just an update on that. As you guys are talking, I'll try to see if I can find one of her emails on that.
Yeah, that was internal stuff though, right? Because I don't
No,
know.
I thought, well, again, in my mind, it went all around. Sometimes I don't check the CC line or,
Yeah,
you know.
you did read us some emails that it was in-
last month.
Right.
Did an update for this month.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Budget report, I think we kind of went through the budget report. Want to thank the folks that contributed during the month of December.
Before you do that, did we decide whether or not it was like making someone uncomfortable if we do that? Remember, we had that email exchange. Did we decide on a policy?
Minutes, I put first names and amounts.
Okay,
Rather than,
okay, okay. I missed that, I'm sorry.
is that okay with everybody?
That's fine with me.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I think somebody would say, no, don't, list me. I think Tom has a good sense of those folks. Because the good thing is it's consistent patrons. So what we're gonna be doing is put, as Peggy said, just the amount and first name
Okay,
and, What's that one piece? There we go. Oh, you got it? That's December. But we do have it for November here. So this is what's gonna be part of. That's part of the November minutes that will be posted on the website.
Okay,
So December will look like that same list.
gotcha.
So, you mentioned the number, what was it, $5,521 for the month of
For
December?
just the month of December, that's phenomenal.
Yeah. Community has a good heart for sure. Working on that annual report, I didn't get too far with it since our last meeting, unfortunately. Any comments or questions about it? What I'm gonna try to do is have something better. Or maybe there's no due date for it, but you don't want to get it out too late. But I have a couple of examples I want to play with, and maybe I'll rip them apart and get it out for you folks to look at, and then we can get together and say what's the right direction.
Okay,
And then what are those pieces we want to have? They're nothing really big. So I'm gonna tackle that. I don't believe we've had any correspondence. Moving on to old business. Do we have any updates about dog licensing at the shelter?
Yes, I can provide that. And again, I speak frankly. All right, no pun intended. Kevin, the treasurer, reached out multiple times to get things going up there. He got absolutely no response. I then emailed the administrative assistant and said, you and Kevin connect and get this done because he's ready to go. He just needs to bring a responsible body down and say, hey, this is how you do it, get set up. So Kevin's completely the treasurer's ready to get it going. We wanted it started on January, so again, blame goes where blame goes, should have already been up and running.
So Marie, is it Marie?
Maria.
Who's working?
So Maria will be setting up an appointment with Kevin, the treasurer, to come down and get familiarized on how it will.
That's perfect. So maybe February.
I sure hope so. I hope it's January.
Maria's only part-time.
Tuesday,
correct?
Wednesday, and Thursdays, if I recall. Yeah, so.
is it full days?
Well, she gets up to 20 hours a week,
Okay,
but so. I can't recall her exact hour.
The volunteer program. I don't know, you were able to get from Lehigh Valley, their volunteer program sent it around. I think can definitely be used as a model. So I don't know who was the group working on that, but, let me know what you want to do with the next step of that.
Christina, was that you and I together?
I don't know. At first it was me, and then I think maybe it was you and I. For me, my biggest concern is who is going to be in charge of it. Because I will not be helping with it unless I know the individual in charge. Is it going to be Tom? Is it going to be, her name's Maria, right?
Well, I think it's supposed to be Maria.
Right.
Right.
Is in her duties and responsibilities, facilitating volunteering and stuff, if I recall, that is actually in her.
Okay, I just want to make sure there's an actual person because up until now we've just been like, throwing it around, and I don't want to, have us work hard on this and then be like, oh, okay, now what, so.
Perfectly understood.
So is that something that? I'm not sure what the next step would be. So is that something that Christina could reach out to Maria to talk to her about, or do we have to?
Well, my understanding was you guys were gonna develop a volunteer policy.
Okay,
And then the administrative assistant would be responsible for synchronizing, coordinating the volunteers when they come in, when they're available. However, I think what the discussion had been here before was, could you find a volunteer to run the volunteer program?
right.
That was kind of the things that was kind of thrown around. But I think what's realistic now is, for the time being, that would be a responsibility that Maria would pick up. And again, I think it's probably appropriate. So she understands the operations of the shelter, the rhythm of how things flow. I don't think there could be a better person to pick up that responsibility than Maria at this time,
Okay,
So we would need to come up with the program.
right,
Once we have it, then we would give that to Maria.
Right.
to-
Well, once we develop it and we agree on it, we send out to the commission.
commission first.
For them to review.
Yeah.
That's who will get the security check with the legal folks.
Yeah. And I think also to ensure Maria's included in that, right? So she has buy-in
Right.
to what you're creating.
Right.
Because she's gonna be able to provide you some ground truth, saying, you know what? I know you guys say that, but let me tell you how it's operating up there from 9 to 5 and why it may work or why it may not, versus, handing her a document and saying, please go forth and do great things. Get that buy-in from the beginning as you do drafts and stuff. Have her take a courtesy look at it, provide, some sanity to it that,
Right,
you know.
Christina,
So my suggestion was gonna be that me and Terry, if you wanted to, we could look at the Lehigh Valley one, and I have some best friends one, and we could make like a draft up for February and then go from there.
I would be happy to do that.
Yeah.
If you guys need a Zoom link, let me know. I can set something up if you want to work in between. I'm the guy up north, so it gets hard for me to come down for work session, but if you need it, Terry, let me know.
Okay,
Okay, so we got a good path going forward on the volunteer program. I think we'll keep standard operating procedures manual, keep it on the agenda
mhm,
as an item to talk about, but I don't know yet if we're ready, but we're getting close. So we got new business for any next steps that we want to look to pursue for 2023. It doesn't need to be get turned on any time, but I
right.
just wanted to see if anybody had any ideas.
Well, the volunteer program for sure is going to be a next step.
Okay.
That's in the forefront.
So for 2023, we want to say we have a volunteer program
We want
to
to
the
have that,
commissioners for
right.
approval. Okay, and then on the street, timing is good.
And then, of course, the SOP.
Okay.
What did y'all think about the article that Frank sent? Did you read it? Yeah.
I read it. It doesn't surprise me. And Griffin Pond, I've had dealings with Griffin Pond, and for them to make this decision, I could imagine it was probably excruciating for them to make this decision.
Looking at it from a fiscal perspective and the demands that are placed on the shelter because of those type of situations.
I
It
think
comes at a financial cost. It
Right.
comes at a cost of time.
Right. I think
Therefore,
they had a choice. But to do-
well, again, right, we want to be proactive and say, do you want to get to that point where you have to do it because you're struggling? Or do you consider implementing or looking at something like that before you hit the proverbial point of no return? I like the article. I like to see government entities that, have as much revenue as they have expenditure.
Mhm.
And this is one of those that is a time suck it pulls away from the shelter, it incurs a lot of costs, direct and indirect. And again, I just thought it was a great article, and just something I thought would be something for consideration to look at and see, you know, and I know you guys had discussions previously about, you know, some of the fees that we charge. You know, are the fees good, or are they too low? Are they too high, or are they, you know, Goldilocks just right? Those are recommendations you should be, you know, at least looking at also, you know.
Okay.
You know, I mean, that does eventually require some board action by us, but if there's a legitimate reason to increase or decrease a fee, well, you know, put those types of things forth. And again, I always say, make us the bad guys or the good guys, whatever the case may be, more so the bad guys. Say, no, it doesn't make sense, or, you know, but things like that. I thought that, again, that just highlighted an issue that we should definitely look at.
Thank you for sending that article.
It's probably up on the website, most of the fees we charge, but I don't know what we charge a municipal. You know, I don't know what the county collects from the municipality.
We just approved the change, the increase. Sometime last month, there was a change to the per capita fee. Based upon, obviously, we use the 2020 census data, but the cost has gone up. I think the total now, it comes to, again, not off the record, but I believe now we're up to taking in 12,000 a year. It may have been 10,000. It was recalculated to take in a minimum of 12,000. Now I have to go back to the minutes and look.
Right.
That was within the last month or so, maybe 6 weeks, that the Board of Commissioners adjusted that municipal rate that's charged.
Is that for all services or just for the shelters?
Oh, that just goes to the shelter.
Okay.
That's, you know, it's kind of,
Can give us that.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Just maybe one of the things.
I mean, that was originally provided to you all, the per capita. I remember it specifically, you know, but it's been updated. I mean, like I said, within the last 6 weeks or
What
so.
about rabies tags and different things like that? Not rabies tags, licenses. Did that go up at all?
There had been no, I hadn't seen any recommendations for any fee changes. And, you know, obviously the perfect time for that is when, you know, during the budget process. It doesn't mean you can do it any time, but normally, right, as you start looking at revenues and expenditures, setting up your new budget, that's obviously when you look, hey, you know what, we need an extra $2,000 a year. How do we see, let's see where maybe we're below average when it comes to licensing fees. And then, you know, you make that recommendation. But again, if you examine the fees and they seem unreasonable, too high or too low, let's put forth the recommendation, you know, saying, you know, we believe this would be a more just fee for the services
Who
provided.
set the fees for the dog?
Well, the Board of Commissioners ultimately, but it's based on recommendations from the shelter director.
Okay,
But again, there hadn't been an advisory board previous to kind of, to look at things
so that's one of.
a little more objectively and not, you know, it looked good, like maybe an extra $5 we need. Well, that's not how you go about it, right?
Well,
You know.
you know, we get the baseline, right?
Mhm.
What we can do is find out what other counties have shelters.
Right.
Ask them what their fees are. We can get demographics from the census data. So I think we can put together a pretty polished thing.
Mhm.
But, you know, we can get that,
Yeah.
what that baseline is
Yeah.
for the fees. Then from there, we don't need it right away because, you know, here's my tag. I know February is a busy meeting for us because we have the guests. Let me see what I can do. If I don't have February, I have it for March. An outline on the evaluating the fee structure.
So the fees I see on here are the adoption fee schedule. The spay neuter deposit. Yeah, if you guys look at the website, there's a couple of them. I don't know if that's all inclusive. But if it isn't all the particular fees, well, then we need to get, you know, the website updated to accurately reflect.
Can we get Tom to give us a complete list of what the fees are?
I would go through, it would go to Maria. right?
Right.
Yeah, she would, yeah, yeah.
You want to, Terry, and tackle getting the fees from her?
Sure.
Okay. Now, put together that outline for us, and then I think that's a definitely worthwhile project.
Does she have an email direct that maybe I
Yeah.
know about?
Yes, I can give it to you offline,
Okay.
you know, not in the public meeting,
Right,
yeah,
right.
absolutely.
We're good for that. February meeting, we have the Lehigh Valley Humane Society. Have that list of questions that are going around. And I can share it with you.
Thank you.
Sorry, Miss Christina, but what I have, I just handed to the troops here is 12 questions. These are the ones I initially put out, and then Commissioner Chris gave us a couple of other ones to add in. It's a lot of information to cover with them, and it's some good information. I don't know if you folks want to chop anything, add anything. But what I'd like to do is maybe give you a deadline until the end of the week. Let me know what you want to add or subtract. And then what I'll do is I'll get it out to Hal and Steve. And with the intention that, we want to talk to you, you're gonna give us some really good feedback. We might not cover all 12, but here's what we want to try to cover. And if we don't get through them, they can get us an email follow-up. So we'll meet at 5:30 here. And get things going, hopefully an hour or so. But they're coming up, get some good information. We'll drill as much as we can. February, Love a Dog for Life, half price adoption fee. I like it. I don't see anybody. So can we maybe make a motion to request the commissioners designate February Love a Dog for Life?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? So we got approval. I can send that out tomorrow, late afternoon. If not in the morning. So, future business.
Surplus supplies?
Yeah, well, one of the things I was talking about was the dates, our regular meeting dates on Tuesday. When you look at the calendar, we're up against a lot of holidays. I think the 4th of July holiday is one of them. I know Commissioner is stretched really thin with his schedule, with the work he wants to do. What do you guys want to suggest? I don't know, Dr. Dawn, you were saying that Tuesdays are your best day.
Tuesdays are my personal best day. I mean, some of my nights I go till 7, so then to have a meeting, it would be too late. Or Tuesday, I can get here by 5:30 and so forth, but again, that's just me. I'm the only one, so that doesn't matter.
First Tuesdays work for me, but it just seems that we're cramped with getting the good reports and stuff. Second,
Recommendation may be, right, it doesn't have to be the first Tuesday, any Tuesdays are okay for me. So if we wanted to push it to like the 3rd or 4th, so then that way you're able to get those records, but again, that's up to you guys.
I have the library board on Tuesdays up by me, and I'm the treasurer there. We try to stay put, but what, Commissioner, what's your feedback? Because
The second week, we have agricultural land preservation meeting on the Tuesday. On the 3rd Tuesday, let me see. Nothing in the evening on the 3rd Tuesday of the month. Then on the last Tuesday is her COG meeting, maybe. Yeah, on the 4th Tuesday, there is also a meeting. On a Tuesday.
So how would the third Tuesday look for folks?
Oh, I think he's got something in the third.
Oh,
Tuesday.
No, I think.
No,
the
it's the
second-
first, your meeting is the first, there's one on the second, which is ag land preservation, and then the fourth week is the COG, Council of Government, so the third is open.
I have no objections to moving it to the third Tuesday. That would help us with holidays.
Holidays are important.
Right.
Christina, I don't want to keep putting you on the hook to speak, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with that. I think it would be easier to do it later just to get all of the information that we need on time. And I'm okay with, I mean, there might be 1 month that I might not be able to make it, but most of the months I could make it.
So would we say starting with our March meeting, we will look at the third Tuesday?
Versus the February one.
Well, February, we already have,
Yeah, we have the meeting.
Oh, that's right, with Steve and Hal.
we
Yeah,
want to keep that
so it'd be
locked.
March, yeah.
Let's revisit it in February. I think if the third Tuesday. of the month-
Tuesday. Yeah, and I'll talk to, make sure Corinne rechecks the calendars and make sure there haven't been any changes for 2023 that are just crazily popular.
So let's have that as part of the business to do the 2023 calendar, March to December. And then I think if we're out of that nightmare of the holidays, and this gives breathing time to the county folks to pull everything together, I think we'll have a good flow. Okay. So we'll have that all set and vote on from that February meeting, kickoff starting in March. So one of the things I asked to add on the new business was surplus supplies. I'm going to speak from both sides of my mouth. One of the things I've talked about in the past was we get a lot of donations, and what we might hear Lehigh Valley talk about is how when they have excess food, they'll donate it to people within the community. It could be low-income folks, senior citizens. And I see the amount of food that we got coming in there, and 16 dogs a month. I can't see how we can go through it, and I don't know what expiration times are for that stuff. But I would like to see us get an inventory of what's there, and once we get the kennel moved and, that space. And if we know stuff is gonna be expiring, maybe that's something where we could, instead of tossing it,
Donate
repurposing
to donate to good food banks or something like that. Is that what you're saying?
anything, instead of letting it just go away.
I know that Tom does do occasionally, he'll go up to Lansford. And he basically gives away food and different things like that. Some pantries will accept it and some pantries won't accept it because it's not a constant. So they don't want to take it and then people expect it and then it's not always there.
Right.
So the pantries sometimes are a little bit harder, but
I volunteer on, normally it's Mondays, the past 2 weeks it's been Tuesdays, up at the Lehighton Farmers Market with Second Harvest. And I can ask them if they'd be interested, if there was any extra I could take up, because they're not like a normal food pantry where they won't take it. It's just like a weekly thing that a truck comes in. We have, like, I'm a volunteer, we box all the stuff, whatever there is, food, toiletry stuff, and then we just give it to the cars of people that come through. So I can ask the guy who's in charge of that if they would be interested in, if there was extra dog food or treats or whatever to put in the boxes.
Or maybe we even have it that it's a startup kit.
Yeah.
Someone gets lucky, takes lucky home and gets a startup kit of food, a treat. But I think the thing to get in place now is the volunteer piece. And I think that's gonna be Maria. This piece, I think, would probably be Maria too. And we gotta get the cat shelter piece, the kennel sorted out. And that would give us the space and the ability to help with inventory. But I'd like to keep that if it makes sense to the folks. And I think a long time ago, Commissioner, we brought it up. I think Commissioner Honor was in favor of something like that.
The using the dog food to disseminate, distribute it.
Yeah.
Again, we don't want it to expire. If it's good food, let's get it out to who need it. The starter kit is a great idea. You know, if you can send someone out with 20 pounds of dog food to get them through a couple days or something, isn't that great? You know, instead of the first stop has to be, you know, at Redner's, you know, they can go right home because they, you know, buy them a few days. I think that's a great idea.
I know that from time to time I've seen on the Facebook page that when people are struggling and then, you know, if they reach out to Tom will generally help them out. So.
Yeah, no, I think it's, you know, it's, you know, the outpouring from the community is fantastic. I never knew it was happening. You know, we would always just leave blankets and towels down by the building. This is phenomenal. You know, so it's good stuff. So, okay, we'll keep it as maybe that's one of those, move it to one of the 2023 next steps. Hey, any future business, further business?
Yeah, I have one item, Fran, if I can
Yes, sir.
interject, and it's really an alibi. You mentioned kind of the annual or wrap up you're putting together, which is a great idea, right? You want to ensure the public knows what good is being done. I had tasked all the departments under the Board of Commissioners to provide me their top 3 accomplishments for 2022. And they had done that. Now, I will tell you, I got the shelters from Maria. All right. And I haven't looked at them because what I've also done, I've scheduled a meeting with each department head to talk to them about their top 3 accomplishments. And then to say, well, so what are you going to do for the county in the next 12 months? Right. And then all those top 3s, the ones that were accomplished, will be published last week in January, first week in February publicly. But I only bring that up because if you have anything in the way of accomplishments for the shelter, you know, prior to the end of January, send it to me, because as I sit down and talk to Tom, I'll say, well, did you think about this accomplishment? Don't you think this one might be a better one to show what you provide? Obviously, these are bullet comments, meaning, you know, 8 to 10 words, data heavy, you know, we provided X number of whatevers, you know, things like that. You know, it's just short, concise, succinct bullets that are clear, starting with action verbs, you know, that show the community the good that has been done. So as you guys kind of work through that, imaginations of coming up with that, you know, any input you have from the up until the end of January, I definitely consider looking at adding to or seeking replacement of maybe the things I currently have from the shelter. You know, that's all I have.
So you like to get that if we have something in the next 2 weeks?
Like next 3 weeks, you know, I would say, you know, 3 weeks from today, if you guys have 1 or 2 things that you think are really significant that, you know, you would think would be a top 3, just email me and I'll throw it in there and see if it comes through in the wash.
Right, you and I were supposed to do that. But I think the holiday kind of snuck in and we offered, you know, just, so if you wanna,
Okay,
I'll work on it with you if you need
Okay.
need me to.
okay, all right, so you and I can work on a couple ideas of the bullets and share it with everybody, get
Yeah.
comments, and then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would tell you, I still don't think the report really provides a good monthly kind of the pass through, right? So you start with 16, you end with 14. Well, no, what you actually did over the month, 88 dogs came in, 44 went out. Now, throughout the year, you know, 844 dogs came into the shelter, you know, 844 were, you know, back out in the community. I don't think we really get that from the report. The report to me, like 16 and 14, what's at the beginning and what's at the end is good to know, because, you know, you only have so many kennels. But really what tells the story of the work that's being done is, you know, how many came through the door and how many exited,
Right.
right? And kind of totals and stuff like that. Those are big numbers that helps show the amount of effort. You did 88 call outs by police that required 226 hours. Wow. And you know what? Most of those probably took place on nights and weekends, right?
Right.
Those are important facts and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm a big data guy. I'm always looking to try to sell things with data. I just, you know, again, I always think we can refine that report a little bit better so we can better tell the story of success.
Between you and me,
Yeah.
I've said it in the past, and I wanted to make revisions to it, got shot down.
Yeah.
So we're ready to make
Yeah.
take a second look at that report this year. I'd like to take a second. look at it.
Well, and again, we have Maria, who
Right.
now can help, where before Tom was very, and still is, very overwhelmed. But now you have Maria that can help with some of those numbers and things and
Yeah.
be able to help if you want.
And I do believe we only have 2 vacancies now up at
Correct.
the shelter.
Okay.
Correct.
So again, you know, excuses start getting eliminated when you fill billets, right?
Agreed.
You know, so, you know, and I do believe, Corinne talked to me this morning. I know those interviews are coming up,
I know interviews
you
are
know,
coming.
so, you know, let's kind of cross our fingers that one, we can get 2 more, or we can get a full timer. And that's critically, right? Getting a full timer.
Right.
And again, you know, we need to understand, you know, the benchmark isn't here. Sometimes good enough is good enough. And then you mentor, you train, you bring that person up to the level. You're not going to grab someone off the street who meets it. We know that in any job, right? They have strengths and weaknesses. So I think our bar has been a little too high sometimes, right? We need to bring it down to what the actual candidate pool is and say, who's trainable?
Right.
Who in 6 months can be value added to the organization and not think that you're going to pull them in the first day. You know, that's part of leadership, right? Mentoring, developing
Well, it's
subordinates.
part of leadership, but setting the bar low. I don't know.
I looked at I've seen people turned away who I would have hired in a heartbeat. Absolutely. I would have said, you're good enough and you're teachable,
That's, yeah,
you know?
but I thought I heard that keep the bar low because of the team we have in place today.
No,
Because they
no.
don't have enough bandwidth to do anything. Because bandwidth seemed to have been a big issue in the past.
It was an issue, but it's becoming less of an issue, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't mean there aren't personnel challenges with individuals. So you thought you got someone for 20 hours a week, but really they can only commit 14, stuff like that. You know, you continue to have challenges. You know, no employee or employees are perfect, but we're in a better situation. And again, though, if you're sitting there waiting for the perfect employee, you're not going to get them, right? You know?
I understand. I
You know?
ran call centers
Yep.
with hundreds of people.
Yep.
So I don't, you know,
Mhm.
I thought I was out of it for a while. I didn't have anybody the supervisor manage, and lo and behold, now I have people that report to me.
Yeah.
It's cool, but I was looking for, just, I haven't worried about Frank.
Right, yeah. And I think you'll see salaries have gone up again. There's no one in the county who will be, if the salary board finishes up like it should tomorrow, no one in the county will be under $13 an hour.
Good.
All right, that's the lowest range. Now, every position has been kind of reclassified, looking at duties and responsibilities. I don't know where the kennel, the folks up at the shelter fall, but I know that every one of them, even, you know, a person right off the street is getting $13 an hour.
Good.
So, and that's, you know, just a little while ago, it was at 11.38,
Great.
you know, and actually lower than that, even before we got to 11.38. So
Good.
salaries are going up. That's all.
No, that's positive. Positive stuff. Okay. I have nothing else. Oh, there was one thing. Going back to HVAC. Did the engineer look at the design and including efficiency rebates from PPML?
I do not know.
Okay, because might want to make sure they had that on the radar. Because they can be pretty extensive.
Right. Yeah.
But if you don't start the process before you start the installation,
Installation, they won't.
you're out.
Right?
No, that's a good one. I'll make sure that's mentioned.
I can cross this one.
As a matter of fact, I'll talk to our EP&L corporate contact.
Elena,
Regards to-
you have Elena down here?
No, the county has there's a, yeah.
Nice.
Our next meeting is the 7th. We have executive session from 5:30 to 6, but we're not really gonna have, it's not really an executive session. We're just, I think, gonna start at 5:30. There's an executive session gets kind of, we've had a side conversation, Commissioner and I. But I don't think we'll do the work session. We can meet with them as a group, and then at 6 o'clock, we can turn our meeting on.
It's an information session, right? Really, it's just a.
Right.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to talk about anything with the polls? If not, we need a motion.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that one. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There was an opposed person, we'd have to get a sergeant of arms. Next meeting.
Good night, Christina.
Oh, also, I wanted to tell you guys, I have a new number. Obviously, I'm not going to say it while we're on Facebook Live, but especially Terry, I'll just email everyone just so you have it.
Perfect.
Awesome. Have a great night.
Good night.
Stay well, feel better.
Thank